worst treatment disaster in NHS history.
More than 30,000 people were infected with HIV and hepatitis after being given contaminated blood products.
This is a day of shame for the British state. Today's report shows a decades-long moral failure at the heart of our national life.
What I've found is that disaster was no accident. People put their trust in doctors and the government to keep them safe, and that trust was betrayed.
Infected blood.
Infected blood.
Infected blood.
Infected blood.
My name's Melanie, and I was given a blood product called Factor 8. It was actually a batch called Z8, which I hadn't realised at the time, but the haematologists were aware that that batch contained the virus hepatitis C. 2008, I underwent combinational therapy, which is a type of chemotherapy. It's interferon, which was a weekly injection, and also 2 tablets daily of ribavirin. Started to make us feel extremely suicidal, and we went through utter despair. I was unable to care for my children at that time. My mum had to take all 3 children for 48 weeks, which was the length of the treatment. And since the treatment, I have felt 10 times worse than I ever felt before the treatment. It's left long life illnesses that the government still do not recognise or even care about. Crashing chronic fatigue, mental health, that's not good. We have PTSD over our treatment, over the infection, over what we've experienced, and the separation from my children. I'm still having to pick up pieces with my children. They felt abandoned. I have often been made to feel guilty for not looking after them. It doesn't matter how many times you try and explain I wasn't well. I was trying to live for you. The anger's there, the childhood trauma's left with them, and we're still dealing with that even today, with the repercussions of that 1 year. Whole blood, which would have been used as blood transfusion blood, that had been bought by the then health secretary. He purchased the blood for cheap. He told the hospitals that they were to use it, and when the hospitals said, we believe that this blood is infected, or we have discovered that the blood is infected, they were told to use up the stock as not to waste it. The term cheaper than chimps came from when the government initially imported the blood. Hepatitis C, HIV was being experimented on chimpanzees, which the government were purchasing. The government could no longer afford to pay for these chimpanzees. They were proven to be too expensive and were not cost efficient. So when the haematologist then said, well, how do we test all these viruses? We now have evidence that proves that children replace chimpanzees as research subjects. It was hard. It felt very surreal because I felt okay. I didn't feel 100%, but I didn't feel like I was dying either. We just had to have everything in place, every will. The children's guardianship needed to be up to date. I'd planned my whole funeral, where the children would live after it. I wrote them birthday cards right up to the age of 50, both of them. Marriage cards, their babies' cards. I just wanted to make sure that everything was in a box and everything was safe for when that day came, that I had not forgotten about anything. I couldn't at the time, because we didn't have video, we didn't have phones, so there was no video messages, things like that. But I did everything bar that to ensure that they would be okay. I left instructions on the schools I'd like them to go to. I had birthday presents ready for them for years ahead. I just wanted to still make sure I was part of their life, even though I wasn't going to be here. 2007, when I joined Facebook for the very first time, that I happened to stumble across a lady called Leslie Brownless. And I believed I was the only one in Scotland that had been infected with hepatitis C. They reckon that nationwide there have been 30,000 people infected with hepatitis C. So it took me a little while to come to grips with this. It wasn't that I felt special, it was the feeling of suddenly I wasn't alone, that there were others that had gone through exactly the same as me, some of them worse, with all of them having stories to tell.
Affected, we lost our brother. Infected.
Affected.
Affected, I lost my son.
Affected, I lost my husband.
Infected.
Affected, I lost my brother.
Infected and affected by the loss of my daughter, Hep C.
Affected, I lost my son.
Affected, as I've lost my son.
Affected, son.
Affected, I lost my husband.
Affected.
Infected. Affected, I lost my brother.
I'm infected.
Affected, I lost my brother.
Infected and affected by the loss of both my brothers.
Affected, lost my dad.
Infected.
Affected,
My father.
Affected, hear from my wife.
Infected. Affected, my daughter.
Affected.
Affected, my mother.
Affected, I lost my brother-in-law.